The following is based on Prison Rape Elimination Act, an overview of the sexual abuse prevention and intervention of inmate on inmate, based out of the Department of Corrections of the City of New York. In addition, it addresses the sexual abuse of prevention and intervention of inmate on inmate, as well as the duty of all staff to report any allegation. This description is the prevention of inmate on inmate, the prevention of, detection of, and response to all allegations of an inmate on inmate, and the sexual threats, including prompt and effective intervention to address the safety and treatment. It is also for the needs of an effective inmate victim of sexual abuse, as well as the duty of all staff to report any allegation of sexual abuse of inmate on inmate and to report of any actual event. The policy is based on the New York State Department of Corrections. This is Corrections and Community Supervision that has zero tolerance for sexual abuse. It is the policy of the department that coercive inmate on inmate sexual conduct is sexual abuse and is not to be tolerated. All allegations of sexual abuse, sexual threats, and retaliation concerning an incident of sexual abuse will be thoroughly investigated. Inmate Rule 101, Standards of Inmate Behavior, prohibits inmates from engaging in or soliciting others to engage in sexual acts. No victim of inmate on inmate sexual abuse shall be subject to discipline for engaging in sexual acts as a result of threats, intimidation, or other coercive actions. Other sexual contact and conduct of sexual nature are also prohibited by the rules found in Rule Series 101.10 of the New York Department of State Corrections. This policy also includes when an employee or volunteer, intern, or someone from the outside has sexual conduct or engages in this sexual conduct. This is a form of prison rape. The procedures have to do with specific training process, absolute assessment, and how it is classified, mandatory reporting, and disciplinary consequences. Basically, this means all employees shall receive during initial training and as in-service training at least every 3 years instruction that relates to prevention, detection, response, and investigation of inmate on inmate sexual abuse in correctional environment. All contractors and contact employees, volunteers, and interns shall receive orientation and periodic in-service training consistent with their level of inmate contact relating to prevention, detection, and response to inmate on inmate sexual abuse. All inmates shall receive during orientation at reception at a facility orientation after transfer information which addresses sexual abuse. The information shall be communicated orally and in writing in English and Spanish, and in language clearly understood by the inmates. This information will address prevention, self-protection, situation avoidance, reporting sexual abuse, and availability of treatment and counseling. The reason why, it has never been known why, but most people that do this act are not really homosexuals, but a situational thing. Now, based on assessment and classification, an inmate has an initial assessment will be conducted of all inmates arriving at a reception center. To report this investigation of an inmate on inmate sexual abuse or sexual threats, any inmate may report an incident or inmate on inmate sexual abuse, sexual threats, or any act of retaliation against an inmate for reporting an incident of sexual abuse. This is also for participating in an investigation of any allegation of sexual abuse to an employee as well. The initial inmate report may be verbal or in writing, but for reporting purposes under the directive, employee includes all employee, contract, or contract employees. The discipline for this is discipline and prosecution is whenever an employee ascertains facts that an inmate perpetrated an act of an inmate on inmate sexual abuse. It is the department's policy to report all incidents on an inmate misbehavior report and to seek discipline of the aggressor in accordance with the standards of behavior. Furthermore, whenever an investigation substantiates an allegation of inmate on inmate sexual abuse, the matter shall be referred to an appropriate law enforcement agency or the district attorney. This is all done through the department's office of the Inspector General for consideration of criminal charges against the aggressor.
And back to the what's and whys and having discussion. Lots of times in these situations, a lot of these men are not homosexuals. Some of them maybe are, some of them maybe not. But lots of times this is used for intimidation, especially when a person comes in thinking they're better than everybody else and saying, I'm bad, I'm bad. They do it as a way of breaking you down. I mean, if a man gets raped and you think you bad, you got your chest stuck out all the time, that's going to make you look at things differently from that on. I mean, not saying this is the reason, but lots of times this is used for intimidation or to break someone down. And maybe some people enjoy it, but more not than so. That this is just, I mean, you've seen in movies and stuff, they just do it just to intimidate you. They do it to control people. If you can take a man's manhood, you got control of him.
To the staff and duty to report it. An inmate may report an incident on inmate sexual abuse or an allegation to retaliate. For all definitions regarding the title of inmate on inmate abuse or any act retaliating against any inmate, this will be reported as an incident of sexual abuse or participating in an investigation of an allegation of sexual abuse. Such duty to report shall include any knowledge or of reasonable belief that the employee has any sexual conduct taking place or that has taken place between any inmates in the custody of the department. Any employee having either knowledge or reasonable belief of inmate on inmate sexual abuse or threat has a duty to report such information to their immediate supervisor, who then shall immediately notify the watch commander of the correctional facility where such sexual conduct is taking place or has taken place. In the event the immediate supervisor is not available, the employee shall immediately notify the watch commander directly. In closing, an employee who receives any report of an inmate on inmate sexual abuse or threat or any act of retaliation against or reporting an incident of sexual abuse or participating is in an investigation of an allegation of sexual abuse. This also involves any offender who is being supervised in the community. They have a duty to report such information to their supervisor as well. In the event the immediate supervisor is not available, the employee shall immediately notify the Office of the Inspector General directly once again. And any employee who receives a report of sexual abuse or has either knowledge or reasonable belief that an incident or threat of an inmate on inmate sexual abuse has occurred, or any act of retaliation, once again, on an inmate for reporting an incident of sexual abuse, this will participate in an additional investigation concerning sexual abuse, prevention, and intervention of inmate on inmate abuse.